If you've ever wondered whether it's possible to run a cycle using nothing but testosterone, this video's for you. Today we're diving into a topic that sparks a lot of questions and heated debates in the bodybuilding and fitness world: running testosterone on its own. Is it really worth betting on just this hormone? Stick around till the end to understand the pros, the cons, and why so many experts actually defend this choice. And of course, don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Testosterone is known as the main male hormone, but its role goes way beyond strength and muscle gains. In the world of anabolic steroids, it's seen as the foundation, the base that other compounds are built on. That's why, when we talk about a test-only cycle, we're really talking about an approach that many lifters consider the most logical and even the safest starting point. But here's the thing, not everyone can use testosterone the same way. For women, the risks of side effects are a lot higher. We're talking about things like a deeper voice, increased body hair, and other masculinizing traits that usually don't make up for the aesthetic gains. That's why this type of cycle is almost never recommended for women. For men, though, the story is different. Running testosterone by itself can actually be safer, mainly because it helps avoid one of the most common problems with other steroids: shutting down the body's own natural testosterone production. When you run only non-test compounds, your natural levels can tank, leading to low libido, fatigue, and even depression. That not only kills your results, but can seriously affect your quality of life. So right off the bat, we can draw an important conclusion. If you had to pick just one steroid, testosterone is hands down the smartest choice for most men. But let's be clear, that doesn't mean it's risk-free or that you can just start using it without proper medical supervision. Now, the first big question that always comes up is, how do you actually take testosterone? There are different delivery methods, but not all of them give reliable results. Some may look more convenient at first, but they carry health risks, while others are way more effective and sustainable in the long run. Let's break them down so you understand why some stand out when it comes to aesthetics and performance. Take oral testosterone, for example. It often grabs attention from people who are afraid of needles. But here's the issue. Oral versions are usually methylated, which puts a heavy strain on your liver and can cause serious damage over time. So even if it sounds like the easiest option, it's really not the smartest one if you're looking for lasting gains without wrecking your health. Another option is testosterone gel. It works to some extent, but you have to apply it multiple times a day and in pretty large amounts just to keep stable hormone levels. Picture this. You apply it in the morning, get a nice testosterone spike, and by late afternoon your levels crash. That constant roller coaster makes it tough to stay consistent and comfortable with results. That's where injectable testosterone really shines. It's widely considered the most effective and practical method. You'll find short-acting and long-acting esters, which basically determine how often you need to pin. For instance, testosterone propionate requires injections every other day, effective but kind of a pain. Cypionate and enanthate, on the other hand, are far more popular and convenient, usually requiring just 1 or 2 shots per week. There's also Nebido, which is given once every 3 months. While that sounds convenient, it causes extreme peaks and valleys in your testosterone levels, making it unstable for physique and performance purposes. At the end of the day, if your goal is aesthetics and steady results, the most balanced and effective approach is sticking with more frequent, controlled injections, like cypionate or enanthate. And speaking of those, a lot of people get confused when they hear names like cypionate, enanthate, or propionate. But here's the truth, they're all testosterone. What changes is not the effectiveness of the hormone itself, but how your body processes it and how often you need to inject. Take propionate, for example. It's a short-acting ester, which means you've got to pin almost every other day to keep your levels stable. It works, no doubt, but for most guys it's just too inconvenient because of the frequency. That's why, despite its effectiveness, propionate isn't nearly as popular as longer-acting options like cypionate or enanthate. When it comes to aesthetics and performance, cypionate and enanthate are the clear favorites. Both have longer half-lives, which means you only need to inject once or twice a week. That gives you convenience, stable levels, and consistent results, without the dramatic ups and downs that come with other esters. And what about Nebido? Like we mentioned earlier, it has an extremely long half-life, with injections only once every 3 months. Sounds convenient, right? But the problem is that it causes big hormonal peaks followed by deep crashes, which is terrible for anyone chasing aesthetic gains. That's why, while Nebido has its place in testosterone replacement therapy, it's not the go-to choice for performance or physique enhancement. Before we dive into more aggressive cycles, it's important to understand how TRT, testosterone replacement therapy, actually works. The goal of TRT is simply to bring testosterone levels back into the normal physiological range for a healthy man. On average, the male body naturally produces somewhere between about 35 to 70 milligrams of pure testosterone per week, which is usually enough to keep everything balanced. Here's a detail most people overlook. When you inject, say, 100 milligrams of testosterone cypionate, you're not actually getting 100 milligrams of pure testosterone. Roughly 70 milligrams is the hormone itself, and the other 30 milligrams comes from the ester, which is what makes the injection more comfortable and long-lasting. That technical detail is crucial if you want to calculate doses correctly and not be fooled by the numbers you see on the vial. In clinical practice, TRT usually sticks around that 100 milligram per week range, but the dose is always adjusted based on blood work and individual needs. Some guys get great results with very small amounts, while others need higher doses to stay in a healthy range. That's why medical supervision is non-negotiable. The benefits of TRT go beyond simply replacing hormones. Many men report subtle improvements in body composition, better energy throughout the day, and even more emotional stability. Another big plus is that it prevents those sharp testosterone crashes that can happen during stressful situations, strict diets, or cutting phases, helping your body handle those periods a lot better. Of course, there are side effects, but when the dose is truly at replacement levels, they're usually mild. Still, every metabolism reacts differently, and that's why frequent blood tests and medical check-ins make all the difference. Now, when we talk about testosterone for aesthetics, we step into more delicate territory, supraphysiological doses. That basically means going above what the human body would ever produce on its own. From around 200 milligrams per week, you'll start noticing real gains in muscle size and performance. But that also comes with bigger risks, like cholesterol imbalances, cardiovascular strain, and increased aromatization, which can lead to water retention and even gynecomastia. Doses in the 200 to 250 milligram per week range are sometimes prescribed by doctors for longer-term use, anywhere from 3 to 12 months. At this level, a lot of people get solid results with manageable side effects. But make no mistake, this is no longer simple replacement therapy. This is performance enhancement, which demands much closer monitoring. Once you push into the 300 to 400 milligram range, the visual effects become a lot more dramatic. Strength goes up, muscles look fuller, and recovery speeds up noticeably. The risks, however, climb just as fast, making regular lab work and close supervision essential. Many lifters consider this range a kind of middle ground between results and relative safety, provided it's used in shorter cycles. At around 500 milligrams per week, you're in classic bodybuilding cycle territory, usually capped at around 12 weeks. The results can be impressive, no doubt, but the downsides also hit harder. Hormonal imbalances, physical discomforts, and much greater health risks. That's why these cycles are usually limited to specific phases and not something to run long-term. Above 500 or 600 milligrams per week, you're talking about doses used almost exclusively by competitive bodybuilders in heavier categories. For regular gym goers, it just doesn't make sense. In fact, once you reach that level, it's usually smarter to keep testosterone moderate and stack it with another compound, like oxandrolone, so you minimize the estrogen-related side effects while optimizing your results. It's easy to assume testosterone is harmless just because our bodies naturally produce it. But once you cross into supraphysiological doses, the story changes completely. Excess testosterone can trigger serious health issues, some you'll notice quickly, and others that creep up silently over months or even years of misuse. That's why understanding the risks is just as important as knowing the potential benefits. One of the biggest issues with high testosterone use is aromatization, the process where excess testosterone gets converted into estradiol, a form of estrogen, that can cause water retention, stubborn fat gain, and even gynecomastia, basically breast tissue growth in men. And it doesn't stop at physical effects. Those hormonal shifts can also mess with your mood, bringing irritability, emotional swings, and discomfort that directly affect quality of life. Another common risk shows up when testosterone isn't used as the base of a cycle. Your body's own natural production crashes. In this scenario, guys often experience a sharp drop in libido, low energy, and even depressive symptoms. This crash can be brutal, not only killing your aesthetic progress, but also wrecking your day-to-day routine. Your liver also takes a hit if you mess with oral testosterone, since methylated versions are toxic to the liver. On top of that, poorly planned dosing schedules cause wild hormonal peaks and valleys, which can lead to mood instability, irritability, and even trouble staying disciplined with your training and diet. In short, your body feels it, and it feels it hard when doses aren't controlled properly. That's why medical supervision is absolutely essential. It's not just about prescribing a certain amount. It's about constant monitoring, regular blood work, adjusting doses, and keeping track of how your body responds. Chasing quick gains isn't worth it if it costs you your health. So, after everything we've covered, it's clear that a testosterone-only cycle has both strengths and weaknesses that deserve serious consideration. For men, it's usually the most stable and logical option, since it keeps the hormonal foundation in place and avoids a lot of the issues that come with poorly structured cycles. But make no mistake, this doesn't mean it's risk-free or something you should try without guidance. For women, the picture is completely different. The high risk of masculinization makes isolated testosterone a poor choice for aesthetics. A deeper voice, excess body hair, and other unwanted changes usually outweigh any potential benefits. That's why women tend to turn to other, safer strategies instead. TRT, on the other hand, has a very clear role, replacing what the body can no longer produce on its own. It can bring subtle improvements in looks, daily energy, and overall well-being, but it's not meant to match the results of supraphysiological doses. Still, it's a powerful tool for anyone who wants quality of life, energy, and hormonal balance. For those chasing aesthetics, it's important to understand that megadoses of testosterone aren't the smartest move. Instead of ramping it up endlessly, the safer and more effective strategy is usually combining smaller doses of different compounds, which lowers side effects while maximizing results. Balance almost always beats excess. And above all, remember this: medical follow-up and regular blood tests are not optional. They're the only way to make sure your gains don't come with permanent damage to your health. So, did this help clear up how a testosterone-only cycle works, its benefits, its risks, and its nuances? The key takeaway is that information and responsibility always go hand in hand in this game. Now I want to hear from you. Did you already know these details about testosterone? Do you have any questions or personal experiences to share? Drop them in the comments. Your input really helps enrich the discussion and makes this community stronger. And don't go just yet. On the final screen, you'll see a recommendation for another video I know you're going to like. Click there and keep learning more about this world, because when it comes to knowledge, there's no such thing as too much. I'll see you in the next one, my friend.